The night was quiet but not peaceful. The wind crawled through the broken buildings of the old alien colony, carrying the smell of burned metal and dust. Human engineer Eli Ross walked carefully, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. Every sound echoed too loud. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he needed supplies, wires, batteries, food, anything to keep his small base alive. The war between humans and the Zathians had ended 6 months ago, but the ruins still felt haunted. Machines buzzed faintly in the distance. Somewhere an engine sparked and died. Eli's boots crunched over broken glass and sand. He stopped when he heard something, a faint sound like breathing. Then a whisper, soft, frightened, almost human. "Don't look at me. I'm dirty, inside and out." Eli froze. His hand went to his blaster automatically. He turned the flashlight slowly toward the sound. The beam caught the edge of a torn blanket lying against the wall of a collapsed shelter. Something under it moved, something small, shaking. He took a slow step forward. "Who's there?" No answer. Only another whisper. "Please, don't look." His heart pounded. He had seen survivors before, both human and alien, but never like this. He knelt, pushing aside some debris. The air smelled of rust and oil. The blanket twitched again. "I'm not here to hurt you," Eli said softly. "I just want to help." Silence. Then a trembling voice. "No one helps, not me. I'm ruined." Something in her tone stopped him cold. It wasn't the sound of an enemy, it was someone broken, ashamed, afraid to be seen. Slowly, carefully, Eli reached out and lifted the corner of the blanket. Under it lay a girl, an alien girl. Her skin shimmered faintly under the beam, a soft silver-blue color. But it wasn't smooth. Lines of metal ran across her arms and neck where wires met flesh. One of her eyes glowed weakly, flickering like a dying light. Her body looked half organic, half machine. She gasped and tried to pull the blanket back over herself, but Eli held it gently. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe." Her lips trembled. "No, you don't understand. I'm not clean. Not like you." Her voice cracked and she looked away, eyes filled with shame. He could see scars, places where machinery had fused with skin, rough and painful. She had been modified, forced into becoming something unnatural. Eli knelt beside her. "You're not dirty," he said. "You're alive. That's what matters." She turned her head slowly, staring at him with disbelief. You're human. Humans don't stay when they see me. They run. They call me monster." Eli gave a small, tired smile. "I've seen worse monsters. Most of them weren't born, they were made." The girl blinked, confused. She seemed unsure whether to trust him. Her breathing was shallow, and the light in her eye flickered again. She whispered, "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone has to," Eli said simply. "And I'm the only one here." He pulled out his water flask and handed it to her. She hesitated, then took it slowly. Her metal fingers brushed against his hand, cold and trembling. She drank carefully as if even water might break her. For a few seconds there was silence between them. The wind howled outside. The flashlight beam dimmed slightly as its battery drained. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Lyra." "Lyra," he repeated softly. "That's beautiful." She looked at him, startled by his tone, as if she had forgotten how it felt to be spoken to kindly. "I was a healer," she said quietly. "Before the war. Before they took us. They said we could save lives if we gave up our own." Her voice shook. "They put machines inside us. Changed everything. Now I'm nothing. I can't even feel my own heartbeat." Eli listened in silence. His gaze softened. "You're still you, Lyra. Machines can't take that away." Lyra looked down at her hands. "You don't know what it's like to see your reflection and not recognize yourself." Eli leaned closer. "Maybe not. But I know what it's like to be alone." Her eyes met his again, blue light against brown. Something passed between them, quiet and fragile. Then from somewhere far away, a mechanical noise echoed. Lyra's body tensed. "They're still looking for me," she whispered. Eli looked around quickly but saw nothing. "Who?" "The ones who made me this way. If they find me, they'll finish what they started." He swallowed. "Then I guess we make sure they don't." Lyra blinked in confusion. "Why do you care?" He thought for a moment, then said, "Because someone once cared when I didn't deserve it either." She said nothing. Her eyes glistened, reflecting the faint beam of his light. For the first time, she didn't hide her face. Minutes passed. The wind grew softer. The ruins seemed less cold. Eli set up a small thermal blanket beside her. "You can rest now," he said. "I'll keep watch." Lyra hesitated, then nodded weakly. She curled up under the blanket, half in shadow. Before she drifted off, she whispered again, softly, almost to herself, "No one's ever touched me without disgust before." Eli stared at her for a long moment, the words echoing in his chest. Outside, lightning flashed behind the broken towers. For a second, the world looked alive again, metal, dust, and stars glowing together. He didn't know why he stayed. Maybe pity, maybe something else. But as he looked at the broken girl lying before him, one thought refused to leave his mind. What did they do to her? And what will I do now that I've found her? The morning came slowly over the ruins. A pale sun rose behind the shattered towers, painting the sky in silver and orange light. Eli Ross sat near the broken doorway of the shelter, staring at the horizon while the alien girl slept. Her breathing was soft, uneven, almost mechanical at times, like her lungs were part machine too. He hadn't slept much. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the flickering light in hers. Half flesh, half machine, but somehow more human than anyone he'd met since the war ended. When Lyra stirred, the sound was small. She opened her eye, one blue and human, one silver and artificial. The faint light reflected off the blanket he had tucked around her. "You stayed," she said quietly. "Of course," Eli answered. "Did you think I'd leave you?" She turned her head slowly. "Everyone does. When they see what I am." Eli smiled faintly, brushing dust off his jacket. "Well, I've seen what you are, and I'm still here." Lyra pushed herself up on her elbows. Her movements were shaky, uneven. Wires beneath her skin sparked faintly. She winced. "Don't look at me like that," she whispered. "Like I'm fragile." "You're not fragile," Eli said. "You're surviving." "That's harder." For a moment, she didn't speak. The silence between them was heavy but not uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that came after long pain, when words no longer knew what to say. He handed her a small packet of dried food. She stared at it as if she'd forgotten how to eat. "It's safe," he said. "Just protein paste. Tastes like cardboard, but it works." Lyra hesitated before taking it. Her fingers shook slightly as she opened it and took a bite. The taste made her grimace. "It's terrible," she said softly. Eli chuckled. "Told you." Something faint crossed her face and something that almost looked like a smile. But when she caught herself, she looked away again. "Don't try to make me human," she said. "That part of me is gone." Eli leaned back, watching the light move across her face. "You talk like someone else took it from you," he said. She looked down at her hands, half metal, half skin. "They did. The soldiers who came to our planet said we could serve the war effort. They promised we'd save lives, but they didn't tell us we'd lose ours in the process." Her voice trembled. "They cut us open. Replaced what made us, us." Eli's stomach turned at her words. He didn't interrupt. He let her speak, and her voice raw, full of quiet pain. "When I escaped, I thought I'd feel free," she continued. "But freedom doesn't mean much when you can't even look in the mirror." Eli took a deep breath. "Maybe you're looking in the wrong mirror," he said softly. She frowned. "What do you mean?" "Maybe what you are now isn't something broken. Maybe it's something new, something that survived." Lyra blinked, confused. "You really believe that?" "I have to," he said. "If I stop believing things can survive, I'll stop being human." The words hung in the air between them. For the first time, she didn't argue. Outside, the wind blew gently through the ruins, carrying the faint hum of distant machines. Eli pulled out his toolkit and began working on a broken radio. Lyra watched, curious despite herself. "You fix things," she said. He nodded. "Machines, mostly. But sometimes people too, if I can." Her voice was soft.
"Can you fix me?"
Eli looked up from his tools. "Maybe not the way you mean, but I can try." She studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then quietly she said, "You shouldn't waste your time on someone like me." Eli smiled. "I decide what's a waste of time." She turned away again, but her shoulders relaxed slightly. Hours passed as he worked. He managed to fix a small heater, placing it near her blanket. Warm air filled the room for the first time. Lyra touched it, eyes wide. "I forgot what warmth feels like," she said softly. "Then remember it," Eli replied. "You'll need it." She looked at him again. and this time her eyes held something new, something fragile and bright, like hope. As the evening light began to fade, Lyra lay down again, her voice barely a whisper. "Why do you care so much, human?" Eli looked at her and said quietly, "Because someone has to remind the universe what kindness looks like." She turned her head toward him, her lips trembling. "You shouldn't get close to me," she said. "People who do don't last long." Eli met her gaze, unflinching. "Then let's see how long I last." For a heartbeat, silence filled the room. Then Lyra reached out, her cold fingers brushing his hand. "Then tell me, Eli Ross," she whispered, her voice barely holding together. "If you fix me, what will be left of me?" Eli looked at her, at the half-human, half-machine girl sitting in the ruins of two worlds, and didn't answer, because he didn't know. The next few days passed quietly in the ruins. Eli spent the morning scavenging old wrecks for tools, and the evenings fixing what little still worked. Lyra stayed close to the shelter, weak but slowly healing. The color was returning to her eyes, though one still flickered like a broken star. She no longer hid her face when he looked at her. That was progress. Every morning Eli left a small ration pack beside her blanket before heading out. And every night when he returned, he found her sitting near the broken window, staring at the horizon, the place where the two moons met the sand. She was waiting. Always waiting. That evening, he returned early, arms full of scrap parts and power cells. Lyra tilted her head slightly. "You risk too much out there," she said softly. "Only when it's worth it," he answered. He spread the parts across the table, an old table made of scorched steel, and began sorting through them. Lyra watched silently for a while before speaking again. "What are you building?" Eli smiled faintly. "A hand," she blinked. "For who?" He looked up at her, meeting her gaze. "For you." Her mouth parted in surprise. "You don't have to." "I know," he said, cutting her off gently. "But I want to." For a moment she couldn't find words. The idea that someone would repair her, not out of duty or fear but out of choice, seemed impossible. Eli worked with steady hands. The light from his small lamp cast golden shadows across his face. Lyra watched the way he focused, my calm, patient, unbothered by her mechanical parts. Finally she said, "Why do you care so much about something that's broken?" Eli didn't look up. "Because broken things remind me there's still something worth fixing." Lyra fell silent. He spent hours adjusting small circuits and fitting pieces together. By the time he finished, the night had grown cold again. He held up the repaired cybernetic arm. The metal gleamed faintly under the lamp. "It's not perfect," he said, "but it'll work." Lyra hesitated before extending her damaged arm toward him. Her fingers trembled as he began connecting the repaired piece. The process was delicate. Soft clicks, faint sparks, and the hum of reconnecting power. When it was done, she flexed her new fingers slowly. The faint glow along her arm pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She looked at him, disbelief in her eyes. "It works," she whispered. "You fixed it." Eli nodded, smiling quietly. "Told you I fix things." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "No one has ever done something like this for me. Not since before the war." Eli leaned back against the wall. "Then maybe it's time someone did." For the first time since they met, Lyra laughed, softly, unsure at first, then real. The sound surprised them both, but then her expression changed. The laughter faded, replaced by something fragile. She looked away. "You shouldn't get close to me," she murmured. "They'll find me again." "They always do," Eli frowned. "Who?" "The ones who made me. They call themselves the Redeemers. They believe people like me are unfinished work, failed designs that need to be erased." Eli's jaw tightened. "Then we make sure they don't." Lyra shook her head. "You don't understand. If they find me with you, they'll kill you too." Eli stood and crossed his arms. "Lyra, I've already lived through one war. I'm not afraid of another fight." Her eyes softened. "You can't fight machines, Eli." "Then I'll fight for a reason," he said. Silence. The heater hummed softly. The light flickered. Lyra looked at him. Really looked. And for the first time she saw something in his eyes that wasn't pity. It was something deeper, steady, human. She whispered, "Why are you like this?" Eli smiled faintly. "Because someone once saved me when I thought I wasn't worth saving. Guess I'm just returning the favor to the universe." Her voice trembled. You don't even know me, he met her gaze. Then tell me who you are, Lyra hesitated. Her lips parted like she wanted to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Her light flickered again and she looked away, whispering, I don't remember who I was before the pain. Eli took a slow breath. Then we'll find her again, piece by piece. Lyra turned toward him, tears gathering in her eyes, faint streaks of light running down her silver skin. He reached out carefully and wiped one away with his thumb. Promise me something, he said. What? When this is over, you'll stop calling yourself broken. She stared at him silent, then slowly nodded. And you? She whispered. What will you promise? Eli smiled softly. That I won't give up on you. Not now. Not ever. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The heater hummed, and outside the stars shimmered above the ruins like quiet witnesses. Then, faintly, a sound broke the stillness, a distant mechanical hum echoing across the wasteland. Lyra's eyes widened. They found us, she whispered. The sound of engines faded into the distance, but Lyra didn't relax. Her body stayed tense, her eyes flickering with faint blue light. Eli scanned the sky, his rifle ready. Nothing moved except the wind stirring the dust. Still, Lyra's fear was real, deep and shaking. They didn't find us, he said softly. Not yet, she whispered. But they will. She sat down near the wall, her hands covering her face. Eli could hear the faint hum of her mechanical parts trembling under her skin. He knelt beside her. Hey, you're safe for now. She looked up, eyes full of fear and something else, guilt. You shouldn't have helped me. They'll track me by what's inside me. I'm a beacon, Eli. Every second you stay near me, you risk your life. He shook his head. If they're coming, they'll have to go through me first. Lyra stared at him, searching for any sign of fear, but found none. His calmness both comforted and frightened her. You don't understand what I carry, she said quietly. It's not just metal, it's something worse. Eli frowned. Then help me understand. She hesitated, looking down at her chest where faint light pulsed beneath her collarbone, soft and rhythmic. There's something inside me, she said. Something they put there when they changed me. It's alive, and it shouldn't be. Eli felt a chill. Alive? She nodded. They said it was a power source, but I feel it. Like it has a will. Sometimes. It dreams when I sleep. Her voice broke. I can't control it. If they find me, they'll take it back, and kill anyone who's seen it. Eli studied her face. The fear there wasn't just for herself. She was afraid for him. He took a step closer. Then we find a way to stop them, together. Lyra shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. You don't even know what you're protecting. Maybe not, he said. But I know who I'm protecting. For a moment, the words silenced her. The wind outside grew stronger, blowing sand across the cracked floor. Later that night, Lyra slept fitfully beside the small heater. Her breathing was shallow, the faint glow under her skin growing brighter. Eli couldn't rest. Something about her earlier words haunted him. He moved quietly, checking the equipment scattered across the floor. When he passed her side, his flashlight caught a faint shimmer of light coming from beneath her ribs, like fire trapped under glass. He froze. The glow pulsed softly, steady as a heartbeat. Curiosity and worry fought inside him. He had seen power cores before and cold, mechanical, dead things. But this, it looked alive. He leaned closer. The light brightened as if aware of his presence. For a moment, he thought he saw shapes inside the glow, shifting patterns like energy forming thoughts. Then Lyra stirred. Her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. Her eyes snapped open, glowing brighter than before. You looked, she said softly. Eli swallowed. Lyra, you saw it, she whispered. Her voice trembled, almost breaking. You weren't supposed to see it, he tried to calm her. I didn't mean to. Now they'll find us faster, she said. Her eyes darted toward the ceiling as if she could see through it. They can sense when it's exposed. Eli knelt beside her. Then we move before they do. Lyra shook her head, her breathing quickening. You don't get it. That thing inside me, and it isn't a battery. It's a heart. A living heart made from both flesh and light. It doesn't belong to this world or yours. Eli looked at her, stunned. A living heart? She nodded, her voice small. They called it the Celian core, the spark of creation. They built me to hold it. but it was never meant to be caged. It wants to live, to grow, to find something pure. Her hand clutched her chest. Sometimes I can feel it beating faster when you're near. I don't know why. Eli felt his pulse match hers, though he didn't understand it either. Maybe, he said softly. It recognizes something. Lyra blinked, confused. What? He smiled faintly. That not everything human is cruel. For the first time, she didn't argue. Her breathing slowed and she whispered, "You shouldn't have lifted that blanket." Eli's gaze softened. And if I hadn't? She met his eyes. Then maybe I'd still be hiding. From them and from myself. The glow beneath her skin dimmed, returning to a soft pulse. Eli reached out and took her trembling hand. "We'll protect that heart," he said firmly. "No matter what it is." She stared at him for a long moment, her eyes filled with emotion she didn't know how to name. Then, faintly, a mechanical signal echoed through the ruins. A low hum, distant but growing. Lyra's head snapped up. "They're tracking the pulse," she whispered. "They're coming." Eli stood loading his rifle. The heater light flickered. Outside, the sky glowed faint red, distant engines cutting through the dust. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, tears forming. "Eli, if they take me, don't let them have my heart." He looked at her, steady and unafraid. "They'll have to take mine first." The first explosion hit just before dawn. The shelter walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Eli grabbed his rifle, eyes darting toward the door. Lyra was already awake, her blue light glowing bright and fearful. "They found us," she whispered. Outside, the sky burned with red lights, search drones, slicing through the ruins like predators hunting prey. Their metallic wings hummed with deadly rhythm. Eli looked at her. "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly. "For now." He slung his pack over his shoulder and pulled her close. "Then we move. Stay low. Stay quiet." They slipped out the back of the shelter, boots crunching over broken stone. The morning air was cold, sharp with dust. The ruins stretched wide and endless, a maze of collapsed towers and half-buried machines. Behind them, a drone beam swept across the street. It hit the shelter they'd just left. Seconds later, the entire building erupted in fire. Lyra flinched, but Eli didn't stop moving. "No looking back," he said. They ran. The wind whipped through the wreckage as they darted between shadows. Lyra stumbled once, sparks flashing from her wounded leg. Eli caught her before she fell. "Keep going," he urged. She tried to smile. "You humans never know when to quit." He gave a short laugh despite the danger. "And you aliens never stop doubting us." The sound of drones grew louder, mechanical wings slicing closer. Eli glanced at the horizon. Beyond the ruins stretched the open wasteland. Endless sand and rock, no cover but distance. "That way?" he said. Lyra hesitated. "There's nothing out there." That's the point. They broke from the ruins, sprinting into the desert. The red sunrise washed over them, painting the sand in gold and blood. Behind them, the drones adjusted course. Lyra turned, raising her hand. The light in her chest flared, and a wave of energy burst outward, hitting the nearest drone. It spun out of control and crashed in flames. Eli's eyes widened. "How did you—" she gasped, staggering. "It's the heart. The Celian core. It reacts when I'm scared. Or angry," he steadied her. "Then stay angry." She gave a small, pained laugh. "That's easy." They kept moving. The desert wind howled, and the hum of engines grew distant for a moment. But Lyra's strength was fading. Her steps slowed, her glow dimming. Eli noticed. "You're burning out." "It's fine," she lied. "Keep going." He stopped suddenly, pulling her behind a large slab of metal. "We rest here for a minute." She shook her head weakly. "You'll die if you stop." "Then I'll die beside you," he said. Her lips trembled, caught between fear and something deeper. "I don't understand you," she whispered. "Why risk everything for me?" Eli looked at her, his expression calm. "Because maybe saving you is the first thing that still makes sense in this broken universe." For a moment, she just stared at him. Then she looked away quickly, hiding the tears glistening in her mechanical eye. The wind howled louder. The horizon shimmered with heat and danger. A sudden noise broke the quiet. A metallic scream. A drone was descending fast. Its red eye locked on them. Eli aimed his rifle. "Get down," he fired. The first shot hit its armor, sparking uselessly. The second shot struck true, tearing through its sensor. The drone spun out, crashing behind a dune, but more followed. 3 red dots appeared in the sky, growing larger. Lyra stood shakily, her hand glowing again. "I can take them," she said. Eli grabbed her arm. "No! It's killing you every time you use it." She looked at him, tears and light mixing on her face. "Then let it kill me, Eli. I was never meant to live this long anyway." He shook his head fiercely. "You're not dying here. Not today." The drone swooped closer. The desert roared with sound. Eli turned his rifle on the nearest one, firing until the clip ran dry. Metal shards rained down. Lyra stepped in front of him, her eyes blazing. "Get behind me." Her chest pulsed once, twice, then released a surge of white-blue energy that tore through the air like lightning. The drones shattered mid-flight, falling in burning pieces to the ground. When it was over, silence returned, heavy and still. Lyra swayed, her glow flickering weakly. Eli caught her before she collapsed. "Hey, stay with me," he said softly. Her voice was faint. "Eli, if I die, promise me one thing." He held her close. "Anything. Don't remember me as a machine," she whispered. "Remember me as the girl who tried to be human." Eli looked at her, her face pale, her light fading, and felt something break inside him. "I'll remember you as Lyra," he said. "Just Lyra." Her lips curved into the smallest smile before her eyes closed. Eli looked up at the sunrise, blood and gold spilling across the desert. In the distance, new lights appeared on the horizon. More drones. He tightened his grip around her and whispered, "Then we run again." The desert was silent again. Only the wind moved, whispering through the dunes, lifting dust around Eli as he knelt beside Lyra's still body. Her faint blue light had dimmed to almost nothing. He pressed 2 fingers against the side of her neck. Nothing. No pulse. Just cold metal and broken silence. "Come on," he whispered. "Not like this." He pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around her, even though he knew warmth couldn't reach her now. Her silver skin looked pale under the morning sun. The marks where wires met flesh seemed lifeless, drained. Eli's mind raced. He checked her circuits, her chest. The faint shell of the celion core glimmered beneath the skin. It wasn't dark, just faint. Like a star dying slowly. He remembered her words. "It's alive. Maybe alive things could be saved." He opened his pack and pulled out his energy cell, his only power source, enough to keep him alive for days. Without it, he'd be defenseless. But looking at her, he didn't hesitate. He tore open the connectors on his wrist device and attached the cables to the faint seams around her chest. The light pulsed weakly. "Come on, Lyra. Don't make me talk to myself in this wasteland." He pressed the button. Energy flowed, bright, dangerous, burning his hand. Sparks danced across her body, tracing her veins like lightning. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her fingers twitched. Her body arched slightly. The celion core flickered, a single heartbeat of light. Eli's eyes widened. "That's it. Come on, fight." He increased the power. The ground shook slightly from the surge. The heat burned his skin, but he didn't stop. Lyra gasped suddenly, her eyes snapping open. One blue, one silver, both glowing bright. She inhaled sharply, like someone surfacing from deep water. Her hand grabbed his wrist, trembling. "Eli, what are you doing?" He grinned weakly. "Fixing you. Like I promised." She stared at him, dazed. "You're giving it your energy. You'll die if you keep going." He ignored her. "You think I came all this way to stop now?" Her eyes filled with light and tears. "You fool." "I've been called worse." She reached up weakly and tried to push his hand away, but he held it firm. "Stop it," she said. "You'll burn out your system." He shook his head. "If you die, none of this matters." The core inside her glowed brighter, responding to his touch. Blue light spread through her veins, into her neck, her arms, her face, every part of her coming back to life. Her breathing steadied. Her voice softened. "Eli, why?" He looked at her, his hand trembling. "Because someone once saved me when I was broken." "And you're not broken. You just needed a reason to live again." Her chest rose and fell, her heart glowing like a second sun. She reached up and touched his cheek, unwarm, human, fragile. "And what if you die giving me that reason?" He smiled faintly. "Then it's a fair trade." The glow between them brightened, almost blinding. The wind picked up around them, swirling dust and light into the air. Then slowly the core pulsed one last time and steadied. Lyra's breathing evened out. The glow in her eyes softened into calm, gentle light. She sat up weakly, the world spinning around her. Eli slumped back, his energy cell now dark, empty. "Eli," she said softly. He smiled faintly. "See? Told you I could fix things." Her lip trembled. "You're an idiot." "Yeah," he breathed. "But I'm your idiot." She laughed through her tears, a sound too human for the barren desert around them. She pressed her forehead to his, her skin cool against his warmth. The Celian core glowed between them, casting light over both their faces. "I felt you," she whispered. "When you touched me, the core, it connected to you. It remembered you." Eli's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" She looked at him, eyes wide and shimmering. "It's never responded to anyone before. But when you touched it, it changed. It became ours." Eli blinked. "You mean?" "Yes," she said. "Your energy isn't gone. It's inside me. You're part of it now." He tried to sit up, but she held him down gently. "Rest," she said. "You've given enough." The desert wind slowed. The air shimmered faintly around them, blue particles floating like embers. The Celian core pulsed softly in rhythm with both their heartbeats. Lyra looked at him, her voice barely above a whisper. "You gave me life. Now I can feel everything again. Warmth, pain, hope." Eli's eyes softened. "Then it was worth it." She smiled faintly, her tears glowing in the sunlight. "Then maybe I was meant to find you, Eli Ross." He brushed her hand gently. "And maybe I was meant to lift that blanket." They sat there for a long time, two broken souls lit by the same heartbeat. But peace in the wasteland never lasted long. Far in the distance, a mechanical echo rumbled again, and louder this time. The Redeemers were coming, drawn by the pulse of the living core. Lyra's glow flickered as she turned her gaze toward the sound. "They'll never stop now," she said quietly. Eli stood slowly, pain in his voice but fire in his eyes. "Then neither will we." The wind carried a deep hum across the desert, the sound of engines heavy and cold. The Redeemers were coming. Eli stood with his rifle slung across his shoulder, his face pale but steady. The morning sun painted the wasteland in gold and crimson, reflecting off the broken metal scattered around them. Beside him, Lyra's silver skin shimmered faintly beneath the torn cloak he'd given her. Her light burned stronger now, pulsing softly through her chest. The Celian core was alive, but it was no longer just hers. It carried Eli's energy within it, human and alien intertwined. "They're close," she said quietly, her eyes narrowing toward the horizon. "I can feel their signal." Eli adjusted his grip on the rifle. "Then we make our stand here." Lyra turned to him, worry flashing in her eyes. "You don't have to do this. If they capture me, they'll leave you alive." He gave a small, tired smile. "I stopped being alive the moment I stopped fighting for something worth dying for." She looked at him for a long moment, then whispered, "You stubborn fool." He smiled wider. "You keep saying that." Before she could reply, the first Redeemer ships appeared, sleek black crafts gliding low across the dunes. Their metallic voices echoed through speakers, distorted and cold. "Unit 47A, return the Celian core. Resistance will be terminated." Lyra's body stiffened. Her pulse quickened, the light beneath her skin flickering in fear. Eli stepped forward, putting himself between her and the approaching machines. "You'll have to take it from me." The lead drone opened fire. Bolts of plasma hit the sand, sending waves of heat across the air. Eli dove behind a slab of rock, firing back. His shot struck true, tearing through one drone sensor and sending it crashing down in flames. Lyra raised her hand, the core glowing bright.
"Eli, move!"
He ducked as a burst of radiant energy exploded from her palm, cutting through the air and shattering two more drones mid-flight. The shockwave rolled across the desert, leaving blue sparks dancing in the air, but each burst drained her. She stumbled, falling to her knees. Eli ran to her side. "Hey, stay with me." She looked up at him, breath shaky. "It's too strong. The core's trying to protect you." "Then let it," he said, holding her steady. "We'll protect each other." Another explosion hit nearby, showering them with debris. The ground shook. The Redeemer flagship hovered above them now, its engines roaring like thunder. From beneath it, a massive figure descended. A tall being made of steel and light, its voice booming across the wasteland. "Prototype Lyra, the core was never yours. Return it and we will spare the human." Lyra's voice trembled but steady. You lied. You said it would heal us, not enslave us. You were built for function, not feeling. Eli stepped forward, rage burning in his eyes. Then maybe it's time you learned what feeling can do. He fired his last rounds straight into the giant's chest. They did nothing, and sparks flared and vanished. The machine lifted its arm, ready to strike, but Lyra stood suddenly, glowing brighter than ever before. The Celian core inside her pulsed like a star. Eli, she whispered, her voice breaking. When I die, don't let them take what's left of me. He shook his head. You're not dying. Tears streamed down her silver cheeks. Then live for me. Before he could stop her, she stepped forward, raising both hands. The core flared, brighter, stronger, until the entire desert was bathed in blue-white light. The Redeemers fired, but their shots dissolved in the storm of energy surrounding her. The air trembled. The ground cracked. Lyra looked back one last time. You gave me life, she said softly, her voice calm now. Let me give you a world where it means something. Then she released it. A wave of light exploded outward. Not fire, not destruction, but life. The dunes bloomed with glowing plants. The sky cleared. The Redeemer ships melted away into dust and silence. When the light faded, Eli was on his knees, the desert around him transformed. Where metal once ruled, green sprouted from sand. Lyra lay before him, her body still. The glow of the core was gone. Eli touched her hand, whispering her name. Lyra. For a long moment, nothing. Then, faintly, her chest moved. A soft pulse, human and warm, her eyes opened. Not silver, not blue, but a gentle, living color somewhere between. Eli, she whispered weakly. It's quiet. Finally. He laughed softly through his tears. You did it, she smiled faintly. No, we did. He helped her sit up. The sky above them shimmered with new light, the first dawn of a changed world. Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder, her voice almost a breath. I used to think I was dirty, inside and out. Eli looked at her, eyes soft. And now? She smiled. Now I think I'm just human enough. The camera would rise slowly over them, the ruined desert reborn, the two of them small against the endless sky. Eli's voice, quiet and steady, would echo in the wind. Maybe the universe isn't broken after all.